That is not a public hearing. We are going to have a public hearing for the town of Port Royal. If you want to speak to that, just give us a moment. And we are also not going to address agenda item number 6, which is the farm text amendments. If there's anyone here for that, we are not going to address that. As I said before the break, we are going to send that back to the Planning Commission, allow them at least a couple of months to look at it. They are going to get input from the Farm Bureau and the Extension Service. So, back to public comments. At this time, if there's any citizen who would like to speak about any subject that's not a public hearing, you may do so at this time. Please come to the podium, state your name and just your voting district. No addresses, just your voting district. And you'll have 3 minutes. So at this time, we'll declare public comment to be open.
Tammy Best, Port Royal. I want to know why this board and planning and zoning did not do its due diligence before changing the fireworks ordinance. Had any of you bothered to call the Department of Agriculture or the Department of Game and Inland Fisheries, you would have found out that they oppose fireworks in a rural area with livestock. I have now been threatened that my horse will be removed by the Department of Agriculture for animal cruelty, and I will be fined or sent to jail and not be allowed to own another animal. I think this county needs to do its due diligence and quit making special exceptions for one person in this county only.
Thank you, Ms. Best. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public comment section? Is there any? This would be the time that you would speak, and you would come to the podium and state your name and your voting district and have 3 minutes to say whatever you
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not sure my voting district. I'm on Bagby Road. This is about the sawmill.
That would probably be the Bowling Green district.
Bowling Green, okay. The road?
And we have a public hearing for that, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
What I said in the beginning is anything other than the public hearings, and I didn't mention the public hearing on the sawmill, my bad. So if you'll excuse us, we will make sure you know when we do the public hearing for the sawmill.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank
But
you.
now's not the time. Thank you very much. Mr. Penny, you raised your hand to speak during public comment? You want to speak on the public hearing? Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak for public comment? Things that are not on the public hearing? Okay. Hearing no more, the public comment section is closed. Mr. Fincham, at this time, take us to agenda item, well, you don't take us to agenda item number 4. Thank you. That was just habit. Agenda item number 4 is the, excuse me, proposed boundary adjustment with the town of Port Royal. Behind the Board of Supervisors is the map of the proposed boundary adjustment. For all those to see, I think the board has it in our package, just as a larger size, so the audience and the TV audience could possibly see it. Madam Mayor, would you like to make a presentation on behalf of the town or some of your designees?
I think we covered everything on our work session, unless you would like to review.
I'm fine. If you're fine, I'm fine.
Yes, I think we're fine. We're thankful that you all have worked with us so nicely on this, and I'm just going to take this opportunity to wish you all happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you all get to enjoy your day peacefully. Thank you, and have a good weekend.
Thank you very much. Again, we are going to open the public hearing for Port Royal, or the boundary adjustment for the town of Port Royal in just a second. One more time, this is the boundary adjustment that's being proposed. So everyone understands this is, again, an all or nothing public hearing. The boundary adjustment as it is, you either like it or you don't like it. And any changes if we were to make any changes to this boundary adjustment, we would again have to have another public hearing. So, having said all that, we will declare the public hearing for Port Royal to be open. Is there anyone who would like to speak regarding this matter? And when you come to speak, the same rules apply. Just state your name, your voting district, and then you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Peter Basanti, and I'm actually with a law firm, Lemon Healy PC. I represent the interests of C.B. Holloway, and he owns 120 acres of farmland in Caroline County, which is actually being used to conduct agricultural operations, and it is our understanding that a portion of his land will be incorporated into the town by virtue of this agreement. Mr. Holloway objects to the use of the boundary line adjustment process that is cited in this agreement, as we believe that this is an inappropriate vehicle for expanding the boundaries of municipality. In order to expand the municipality's boundaries by a factor of 5, as you all are proposing in this agreement, we believe that the voluntary annexation procedures set forth in Virginia Code Section 15.2, 3400 need to be followed, as well as the regulations of the Commission on Local Government. Under these procedures, the town and county must present the proposed agreement to the Commission on Local Government so it can hold a public hearing, so it can issue its findings and recommendations, and also when the agreement is proposing to expand municipal boundaries, the regulations of the Commission of Local Government require the localities to submit relevant evidence on the agreement, which includes any adverse impact on agricultural operations, such as Mr. Holloway's. After the Commission issues its findings and recommendations of those procedures, the localities must each both pass an ordinance adopting the agreement, and then they must petition to the Circuit Court to get the Supreme Court to get a special annexation court designated, and they would have to affirm or deny the agreement after determining that the agreement is within the best interests of the Commonwealth as well as the affected parties. Mr. Holloway is opposed to any portion of his property being incorporated into the town because he believes that the town does not have the resources or the regulatory scheme in place to effectively oversee agricultural operations. He's also concerned about double taxation. He does not believe that the town would benefit from incorporating this because it would not generate any business revenue to the town, and it would also not assist the town in getting the infrastructure grant to upgrade its water supply system because his farmland does not use any public water. Mr. Holloway believes that the independent substantive review by the Commission and by the Special Annexation Court is necessary to protect his interests as an objecting property owner in the area that's sought to be annexed. And under the boundary line adjustment process that is being cited in this agreement, there would be no such independent review. It would merely be reviewed by the local circuit court to see whether procedural formalities were complied with. Mr. Holloway believes that the town is annexing his land under the guise of a boundary line adjustment agreement. Thank you.
You're finished?
Yes.
Your time is up. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding this matter? Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding this matter? Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding this matter? Hearing none, the public hearing is declared closed. If you wish.
Chairman and other board members, we have talked about this issue and we've met about this issue and we've talked with landowners and we've done everything that we deem necessary in order to make an informed decision. My knowledge, from my understanding, is the boundary adjustment is a method by which two localities can agree to extend the boundaries of a particular area, and if both local governing bodies and the town can agree on the boundary and there are no conditions, then that this is one way of addressing this issue. The board has talked about it, we've listened, we've made adjustments, the town has done the same, and having said that, unless there are other concerns from other board members, I would like to make a motion at this time if that is in order. At this time, I would move the adoption of the proposed boundary adjustment with the town of Port Royal as presented.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Board discussion, not being an attorney, but I do believe we've complied with the laws of the Commonwealth. Whether we agree with the decision or not, we have complied with the laws of the Commonwealth. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed to the motion? The motion carries unanimously. We have a resolution in our packet that staff will prepare, and I guess we will have signed at staff's earliest convenience. You're off tomorrow? Half day tomorrow. Okay. Sometime next week we'll have the resolution signed. Thursday and Friday are county holidays, and a half day off. Okay, so that takes care of the Port Royal annexation agreement. The next special exception is Special Exception 03-2013, James Hill, owner and applicant, special exception permit in accordance with Article 17, Section 13, standard special use permit, and Article 4, RP preservation, Section 5.9 of the Caroline County zoning ordinance. This is the sawmill ordinance. Mr. Fincham.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, your next public hearing is SPEX 03-2013. James E. Hill, owner and applicant, is requesting a special exception permit in accordance with Article 17, Section 13, and Article 4, Section 5.9 of the zoning ordinance on tax map 74-A68 and a portion of 74A70. The property is located at 21529 Bagby Road in the Bowling Green voting district. The proposed use is a commercial sawmill. The applicant is requesting a special exception permit to reopen an existing sawmill on property that is zoned rural preservation in the Bowling Green district. Because the sawmill has been closed for more than 2 years, it has lost its status as a pre-existing non-conforming use, and therefore is subject to the current zoning regulations, which require the board to grant a special exception permit to reopen this operation. Staff did submit the application to various technical and review agencies, and those agencies that did respond include the Health Department and Virginia Department of Transportation. Their concerns were addressed in the suggested conditions that were forwarded by the Planning Commission. Staff has reviewed the conditions. We have noted a couple of minor changes that we would recommend to the board. Condition number 2, we would recommend that you strike the last portion of the sentence that says that would require a site plan within 30 days of approval. Depending on the logistics, that's not something that we typically have required. We do require the 2-wit or the official board action, but it may take a little bit longer to get a site plan. We think that should be amended. Under condition number 6, where we had a 50-foot buffer, we would also suggest that you add language to the effect that unless a reduction or waiver of this buffer is agreed to in writing by the abutting property owners. That would give some flexibility in terms of the ability to store product on site. We have talked to the applicant. I believe they have some requested modifications to the hours of operation, which they will discuss as part of the public comment. The Planning Commission did forward this application to the board with a recommendation of approval. If you remember, this was an expedited public hearing as an economic development prospect. And with that, I'll address any questions that the board may have.
Okay, Mr. Fincham, you did say during the overview that they had lost their grandfather status because it wasn't used as a sawmill for 2 years?
Yes, sir.
And 2 years is the time limit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Fincham at this time?
Yes, just one.
Mr. Underwood?
Mr. Fincham, during the time that it was in operation, were there any issues that you know of in terms of operating the sawmill?
We did not see any issues identified in the file, Mr. Underwood, and in fact, the board at one time had previously approved a special exception permit for an expansion of the sawmill. That expansion, I don't believe, ever actually occurred, but there was an application for an SE 06, 07 timeframe that was approved.
Thank you, Mr. Fincham. Thank you, Mr. Fincham.
No more questions?
No more, no, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Fincham. The applicant is here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Penny, I take it you're going to represent the applicant?
Y'all, I think most of you know me. I'm Maynard Penny, and I'm the agent for James Hill, who is not here. Briefly, this sawmill has been, this land has been the sawmill used since 1969. Tom Ball, that used to be on the planning commission, started it on his land. He sold it to James Hill. James Hill operated it till approximately 2009, sold the equipment out and wanted to sell the property. The property, the gentleman that wants to purchase it would operate a sawmill. Basically, somewhat the same has been operated all these years. That would be a whole lot of change. And I don't know a whole lot more to say, but let me introduce you to Mr. Bill McCauley from Pennsylvania, and he's the owner president of John Rock Incorporated, who's in a similar business there, and would like to come down here.
Bill, was it McCauley?
McCauley, yes.
Okay, could you spell it just to make sure?
MACCAULEY.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Bill McCauley. I'm the president of John Rock Incorporated. We're one of the largest pallet manufacturers in the United States. We draw lumber from Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. As you know, the recession was extremely difficult on a number of sawmills. They've gone out of business, and we're looking to expand our operations. We found this piece of property. It was a sawmill already. It's in a good location for material. Since we've expressed interest and have spent time at the site, we've had at least 15 people come by looking for jobs. And that's what we're here to do, folks. We're here to bring you jobs. We want to build and operate a state-of-the-art mill. The main building today, it will exist the same footprint. We have to update and modernize the building, as we won't be able to get insurance if we leave it in the current status. Insurance regulations are requiring a steel building. So as far as you'd see from the road, it would operate the same as it did since 1969. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. We're going to do the public hearing, and then we'll come back with questions. Anything else you want to say, Mr. Penny?
No,
That was
thank
it?
you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding this matter? Please come forward, state your name and the Bowling Green voting district.
My name is Crystal Hollis. I own 2 properties next to the road is not wide enough. It's not wide enough for 2 cars to safely pass. I don't know if the town or you're going to take the responsibility of lives in your hands. Rumor is, you know, they want to put trailers, hire illegal immigrants. I don't know. I know I worry about my safety. There's people that walk down that road. There's cars. I'm going to personally call VDOT myself, because I don't think it was approved for a truck and a car to be on an old carriage road. No. You know, I know you want money. I heard the budget. Sounds all good. But you're taking people's lives, and if you do this, it's going to be on you. There's a curve, and you can come to my house. You're welcome. There's a curve right there that a truck and a car will not get by The truck won't see the car. When they come about, they won't see each other. And there's a bridge that a truck and a car cannot safely pass. And it's just, it's not worth it, you know? Sorry, you can get your money elsewhere, but it's not worth lives. And I don't know what they're planning, but that's why I was worried about the farmhouses. Are people not going to pay somebody good wages and want farmhouses? Pay them so they can go rent a house.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding this matter?
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
We're going to come back to you. I got to close the public hearing, have a seat, and we'll call you back. I think that's going to be really soon. Is there anybody else who would like to speak regarding this matter? Is there anybody else who would like to speak regarding this matter? Is there anyone else? Hearing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed. Mr. Fincham.
Yes, sir.
I was looking for the VDOT report, and it basically just says provide daily trip rates and site distance verification.
Yes.
But I don't see where they said that the road was okay. And to Ms. Harless's question, the county is not necessarily responsible for roads. VDOT is responsible for all roads. So where is the VDOT recommendation?
The VDOT recommendation was included in condition number 8.
And condition 8 says the applicant shall construct or cause to be constructed all road and site entrance improvements to meet the standards of the Virginia Department of Transportation. So
You are correct that they did not specifically speak to the width of the road, but they did identify a question about site distance and have asked for, and as part of the approval, would have to submit to traffic trip generation figures from the proposed facility, looking at site distance, access, etc. But they did not specifically address road width. You are correct.
And I'm not sure where Mrs. Harless's house is in relation to the property, but if this was this was a sawmill back when I had hair, so that was a long time ago. The reality is, do we have any accident history between then and now?
We could check with VDOT to see what accident history they do have.
Okay, but they didn't provide any.
They did not provide any accident history, no, sir. Or did not identify that as a concern or an issue.
It just seems odd that there's not a VDOT report in this. I know it's a special exception, but it just seems odd. Okay. Questions of Mr. Fincham or the applicant at this time? Mr. Black?
I just got a quick question on the jobs for the applicant.
Mr. McCulley, now you can come back up.
Sure. You said it's around 14 jobs, 12, 14 jobs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and are those going to be local Caroline County jobs? I mean,
Yeah.
they would be local people from
Yes.
Caroline?
We're looking to hire managers, secretary, mechanics, loader operators, general laborers, but the estimate is 12 to 14 people, and if all things go well, it should go up.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Seeley?
Mr. Chairman, I talked with the previous owner when that was still a sawmill. A number of the folks that they employed lived around that area, and I'm sure those are the same folks. I've talked to a few that are excited about that actually coming back. So, again, I think it's the folks that have been there in the past.
Okay. Mr. Underwood?
I just wanted to ask Mr. Fincham about, I know he's talking, about the road in terms of, Mr. Fincham, the road that the sawmill is going to be on, is there standards that need to be set for that road there? Or will we have to talk to VDOT about that?
It is currently a VDOT maintained road, In terms of additional standards for upgrading that road, yes, that would be a VDOT issue.
But do you agree that that road may need to be upgraded in order to facilitate the traffic?
Mr. Underwood, I'd leave that to VDOT. There may be some spot improvements. VDOT had a question about site distance. Obviously, they're going to look at the site distance issues at locations as part of the site plan review and approval. But in terms of additional width, we have similar facilities elsewhere in the county on roads this size as well. So I would leave that up to VDOT. I would defer to VDOT in terms of answering that question.
So what you're saying is we don't have an answer to the question because VDOT's not here and then they give us a report. So
Yes, sir. We got an email from VDOT and these are their answers, or these were their issues that they identified.
My concern, Mr. Chairman, is that, again, if there is a safety issue, then we need to rectify it prior to making a decision here. I think we need all the facts rather than just some of the facts, if it is indeed a safety issue. I'm just not sure.
I think you make a valid point. And again, we don't know, you know, well, we don't know what VDOT will do with the condition 8, which is really the entrance issue. Because if the entrance issue is at one location and a quarter-mile up or down the road, whichever way you go, there's the sharp curve that Mrs. Harless referenced. VDOT fixing the entrance won't necessarily alleviate the concern she has.
Potentially, that's correct.
And we don't even know that because we, again, don't have a VDOT report. And I understand the administration is changing and things happen at VDOT like that all the time, but it kind of causes a slight issue. Okay, Mr. Akers, did you have any questions?
My question is, I don't recall in the years I've been on this board of anyone requesting, because trucks have had to go up and down that road in the past. I know that from where it's located, the Bagby area, there are log trucks and what have you that travel those roads. I don't know if any travels this particular road or not. Do they? Does anybody know? Regular log trucks?
Well, I've been down here half a dozen times in the last 3 months, and I see log trucks on it every day.
Okay, Mr. McCauley, would you step up to the mic just so we can record your voice?
Yeah, I've been curious myself about log trucks and lugs being on that road, and there's been log trucks go up and down every day. So why not they stop at the mill? And I'd also like to address one other thing, I won't let it go, folks, is that I have no intent of bringing in housing and campers and putting Mexicans in there on the property. Just so I want to straighten that out, okay?
Okay.
That's not,
that's not a point we're going to address with you, but, you know, that's fine. Thank you.
My point was that
you can stay there.
We've had instances in the past, and some roads in the past, that it was difficult for log trucks to go down and to pass a car. And we went to VDOT, and we were able to restrict those roads because they were so narrow. But I don't recall ever having a request for this particular road for that to happen. So it has to say to me that it's large enough for trucks to go up and down, I mean, and cars to pass each other.
Not necessarily, Wayne.
Well,
that's an assumption.
Well, it's a good, everything we do has to be an assumption, but I mean, the fact is, if since 1969...
Because there hasn't been a request doesn't mean it's not an issue.
Well,
because it hasn't been addressed, it doesn't mean it's not an issue.
Okay, one second, could I yes, sir.
I just wanted to make a comment. I live out there.
Okay. Right.
I moved here in '01. The log trucks and our transfer site is probably 200 yards past this sawmill.
On that road?
So, yes, sir.
Okay.
So our trucks that pick up our dumpsters are there every day, And from '01, when I moved here, to '09 it shut down, log trucks are there every day dumping logs. So it's a standard road, just like my road, Dodge City Road, same size, log trucks, Liberty Fork. It's a standard practice out there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the roads are as large as we'd like to have them. 639 is a pretty wide road, Ladysmith Road. But I'd like to see it a little wider, to be honest with you, because it does give you more room to maneuver. I'm just saying that since 1969, if there had been an issue, yes, I've assumed, but the fact is, I can tell you, people do not allow problems to exist for 40 years without letting it be known. And that's all I was trying to get. If there had been an issue, well, not 40 years, but my thoughts were, if there were issues, and do we have it on record that has been requested by VDOT and they never changed it?
Gentlemen, can I take a liberty? Because Mr. Ball was actually the owner of this. He was my neighbor and friend. Unfortunately, I never visited the sawmill, but I'm sure Mrs. Morgan, his daughter, did. Do you recall, and you could just, since you're back there, you could just shake your head, do you recall any problems with traffic? Okay, she's shaking her head no, and she says there's other trucks that go there every day. Farm trucks. Oh, as in Mr. Broder's behind you. Okay. Okay. So in your time, and I'm sure you were a very little girl in 1969, you don't know anything about the accidents or problems? Okay. And she said, not to my knowledge. Thank you, Mrs. Morgan. I'm not sure. We still have to work through the process. I just saw her and knew that was a good connection. Did you have some questions, Mr. Taylor?
Well, yeah, is it McConley?
McCauley.
Mr. McCauley, are you willing to address, and I don't know that there is a problem, maybe there's just a perception, but certainly if there is a circumstance that, and nothing is ideal, obviously, but, if there is a concern, a traffic concern where it's dangerous, I've not heard of it before. I know there was a sawmill operation there for many, many years, and to my knowledge, it's not been an issue. So, my thing is, I would like for certainly you to be able to do what you want to do, but if there is a legitimate safety factor, I would like that to be addressed. Are you willing to do that?
Yes, sir. We're willing to work with the VOT, whatever it takes. It's within reason. If they come out and do a study and say they need to improve a curve, we'll support it. But I will say that there's trucks use it we have the same situation in Pennsylvania. Okay, Pennsylvania deals with this all the time. That's where we're from. And we have the same thing with milk trucks going down roads that aren't as nice as Bagby Road every day.
Okay.
Mr.
Fincham, how can we be, if we were to approve this special exception, how can we be assured that that issue would be addressed satisfactorily?
If you would allow me a few moments to converse with Ms. Cosby, I'll see if we can't come up with something.
Okay. Before you do that, you said in your presentation there was some discussion about different hours. They didn't mention it. You just want me to just go right past it, or?
I will leave that to the applicant. But there was a concern expressed to staff.
Okay. While you talk to Ms. Cosby, I'll ask Mr. Penny, representing the applicant, and Mr. McCauley. The hours in the special exception conditions we have in front of us say you're going to operate from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 to noon on Saturday. Operations on Sunday will be prohibited.
The hours, they don't want to operate on Sunday. The hours during the week, it's kind of hard to operate, to say you're going to operate from 7 to 5 because you don't know at this point what is going to be required. You don't know how much is coming in, who is going to bring it. You might need a longer span. When trucks come in, you can't just turn them down at 5 o'clock and say, we're not going to unload you. That's the problem that Mr. McCauley has with that. He would like to have some liberty on that to expand that a little bit.
Well, this would be more than likely enforced by planning. or
Right.
Mr. Whiteman.
Right,
So I'm sure Mr. Whiteman won't be home by 5 o'clock because he works for the county.
right.
So if he gets out there at 6 o'clock and you're unloading trucks, that's probably a little past the leeway. Now, do you want to change the hours, or do you just want a little more leeway and understanding during the hours?
I'd just like to keep it real and apply common sense here. We're about entering into a venture that we don't know what the hours are going to be. And I think the major concern that people have, and I addressed this same concern with my brand new plant in Pennsylvania 10 years ago, was it's always about noise. I mean, how much noise you're going to have. And the noise will be contained and will meet the noise ordinances. I can't tell you right now 7 to 5. I mean, it's very unrealistic for you guys or anybody to ask somebody to invest $5 million and hog tie them. And I'm asking, I'll work with you, and if there's complaints, I want to know about it and we'll address it. I've had little issues up at my plant in Pennsylvania. They didn't like a beeper on the back of my front end loader. So we put duct tape over it and we calmed it down.
Okay, but you have to be a little more specific in your work with us.
I request that the mill, I think it's about the operations of the mill. The mill will say 6 o'clock in the morning till potentially 8, 9 o'clock at night. I mean, if I get overrun with logs and I have to get them processed, it's going to take more hours to get them processed.
How do we work around that?
How far is the closest house to you?
Pardon me?
How far away is the closest home to you?
About a half mile that I know of. Okay, which house are you in? Which house are you in?
I'm at Yellow House, and by the way, Barlow's farm that twice a year, not every day.
Come on up, come on up, and so we can hear what you're saying.
I don't know what's going on, but it's Barlow, and it's Miss B's property, and it's twice a year, not every day.
Okay.
Okay,
How
not every
close
day
are you
these
to
trucks.
how close are you to the
I can walk
mill?
it. I'm a half a mile.
Okay.
Half a mile?
Half a mile away.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm not going to be woken up at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning.
Okay. Well, we got 8 to noon on Saturday.
I'm up at 5 on during the week, but not on a Saturday morning. I'm not.
Okay.
Close to your home.
Where'd Mr. Finch? Oh, he's still working on it. Mr. Underwood wants a question. Go ahead.
In your Pennsylvania operation, typically, is there a certain season that you have overruns of material coming in? that you need
It
to
happens.
process, or is it sporadic?
No, it happens depending on demand. Weather has a lot to do with it.
But I'm asking you, are there patterns, or is it just sporadic?
I'd say it's sporadic. The problem you have is with and I'll tell you why, with the regulations with logging and all, here we just had a rainstorm. Okay, today a lot of log trucks are running because they won't be able to run tomorrow and they won't be able to get it out of the woods. I mean, that's why it's not productive. I mean, I can't ask all the log trucks, if it rains Monday through Thursday, okay, and they can't haul them in, I need them to run on Friday and Saturdays. It's just I don't control Mother Nature. I mean,
But you understand.
I understand the concern.
Is that we would like to have some predictability as to what's going to occur in order to make an educated decision.
Right.
Right.
So you're saying it's just sporadic and it's just,
We
that's not the words I want to hear. I don't like
I'm sorry.
sporadic. I like control.
I completely understand.
Right.
And if you give me some leeway, I don't know what to tell you, other than I don't know until we get into it.
But I'm basing that on that you're already operating a sawmill in Pennsylvania. You're asking for leeway, but you're not specific as to the leeway that you need, other than say, I need this or I need that. You're not even giving,
Our hours,
giving me parameters.
yes, our hours,
There you go. Keep going. Keep
our
going.
hours in Pennsylvania are 6 o'clock in the morning till 6:30 at night. Okay? This is our normal operating hours Monday through Friday. Saturday, we'll operate from 6 in the morning till usually noon. Okay? This time of year isn't quite as busy. We're not operating it at noon. We're not planning to operate the sawmill on Saturdays. Okay? Under normal conditions, normal sawmills will work 40 to 45 hours a week, sometimes 50. Saturdays is the day for maintenance, and you have to maintain the mill or it won't run.
Okay.
I understand that, but, you know, you've got to give me a little something to work with. You know, again, a parameter, a time. I appreciate the 6 to 6:30. It makes a lot of sense to me. I can look at that. Summertime, the sun goes down at 9 o'clock. I can kind of take a look at that, but I appreciate at least the time frame anyway.
Well, no, I like the discussion, and we want to try to, believe me, we want to work with you. Okay, we want to work, tell me what you need, we'll try to work with it, okay? If you want to say 6 o'clock in the morning, we won't receive trucks before 6 o'clock and go till dusk or a half hour after dusk. You know, it's realistic, because we don't, you know, in summertime, realistically, they're going to be done by 7 o'clock is my guess. But there's occasionally going to be that truck that broke down and I need to get unloaded.
All right, let me ask Mr. Fincham a question, and I think we can kind of at least put the time issue. Mr. Fincham, under normal circumstances, a special exception, we would take these conditions as are. Any modification to the conditions would require an update to the special exception, right?
Yes, sir.
Do we have the ability to allow staff to modify those hours periodically with the approval of the board or something of that nature? Or we could make that a condition?
I think you're deferring a obligation under the zoning ordinance. You're delegating an authority that I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I would defer to the county attorney.
Well, all right, then you don't have to do it. Can the Board of Supervisors do it? And we would set these conditions up and say we're going to run from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then if Mr. McCulley comes back and says, I need another hour either way or something like that, we could administratively do it rather than have him go through the entire process again. Right. Can we do that? Can I just make that a condition? I can make a condition that said that hours will be reviewed every 6 months. And then he comes to the board and we say every 6 months, we say, okay, you go from 8 to 6 or whatever, and it could be on consent agenda. We could do that.
Could we not establish hours in this condition here that says from January, I'm just using a figure, the number, January 1st through April 1st or May 15th, his hours are this, and then May 15th or May 16th through October 31st there.
Yeah,
can we not establish hours by months?
I think you could do.
I'm sorry.
So we could do that.
You could do that, and in answer to Mr. Thomas's question, I'm not sure that specifically the way you're describing it, you could do it administratively. However, you could set something up so that the hours would be something set and then provided, you know, there aren't, you don't get any more than X written complaints, they could come back in, so that the standard's already established, not just so that kind of you would reconsider it as a legislative action, but just, you know, the hours are this, and they may be changed to something else provided within 6 months certain criteria are or are not met. And as long as you did that in this condition, you could do that in the future.
We could just say in this condition, hours may be reviewed every 6 months.
Well, I don't think you could do, that's more of a legislative, then you would sort of be reopening it.
Mr. Chairman, what if we set 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, and again leave it at 8 to noon on Saturday as normal operating hours, and then add a seasonal condition of daylight hours during the summer. I mean, I'm trying to give him set hours that he knows he can work, and then additional hours in the summer if he needs them.
And I'm trying to get set hours so the residents know when those trucks will be coming through to some degree.
Could we not also, and Mr. McCauley, you talked in terms of unloading trucks, and I understand that there are times when you'd want to start at 6 o'clock in the morning, you may want to go to 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night. Those, unloading those trucks, other than the beeping of the
backup stuff.
Yeah, the unloader, I mean the forklift that you're unloading logs off with, there shouldn't be a lot of noise. The noises may come from the operation of the sawmill itself, right?
Yes, yeah, you're talking about that. I mean, we have to remember that, you know, the trucks that would be coming in and out, hauling chips and saws,